Hey, fourth grade, welcome back to library. I hope you guys all had a really nice break. I know it's kind of frustrating to be stuck at home, but hopefully you were still able to find some fun things to do when you weren't doing schoolwork. So today we're going to be talking about Greek mythology again. I thought it'd be fun to go back to the unit that we started when we were still in school together. And your assignment today is called Perseus and Medusa. So your first step is to watch the video lesson, which you're doing right now. And I'm going to read the myth aloud to you so that you can follow along as I read. And then I'll explain what we're going to do next. So, Perseus and Medusa. Perseus and his mother Danae lived happily on an island. That is, until the king of the island decided that he wanted to marry Danae, even though she did not want to marry him. The king wanted to force her to marry him, but he knew that he would have a problem with Perseus if he tried to do that. So he came up with a plan to get Perseus out of his way by sending him on a faraway and dangerous mission. The king told Perseus to bring back the head of Medusa, one of the 3 Gorgon sisters, as a gift to him. Medusa had live snakes covering her head instead of hair. However, the scariest thing about her was that anyone who looked at Medusa's face would instantly be turned into stone. Perseus had a very difficult task in front of him. To begin with, he couldn't find the Gorgon lair where the sisters lived, even after long days of searching. Feeling very frustrated, Perseus prayed to the gods for help. His request was answered by Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hermes, the mischievous messenger and son of Zeus. They gave Perseus winged sandals to fly him to the end of the world, where the Gorgons lived, a cap that made him invisible, a sword, a bag, and a mirrored shield. Perseus found the Gorgons' lair surrounded by stone statues that used to be men. He raised his shield and saw that Medusa and her sisters were asleep. The shield was very important. It was really shiny, so Perseus could look at the reflections in it, rather than directly at Medusa, which saved him from being turned into stone. He put on his cap to become invisible and flew to them. He used the sword to take off Medusa's head and carried it in a magical bag. His winged sandals allowed him to escape quickly before the other Gorgon sisters could catch him and take revenge for Medusa's death. On his way home, Perseus rescued a woman named Andromeda, who was being attacked by a sea monster. Perseus carefully took Medusa's head out of the bag without looking at it, and showed it to the monster, turning it to stone. When Perseus returned home, he found that after his mother refused to marry the king, he forced her to become his servant. Perseus was furious. He stormed into the palace and said, "Let all who are my friends shield their eyes!" Then he showed Medusa's head, turning the king to stone. So, what I love about that myth is that at the end, Perseus used what the king wanted him to get, Medusa's head, against him. He used it against the king to turn the king to stone. So, he kind of showed him who was boss. All right, I would like to show you the video. I'm going to start it a little ways in because the beginning was not relevant. It was not similar to what we just listened to, so I wanted to show you the part that I thought was the best part of the myth.
To the island of Seriphus, where they were offered refuge by the kindly fisherman Dictys. Perseus grew up to become a strong and wise man, and he loved his mother very much. One day, the king of the island, Polydectes, saw Danae and wanted to marry her, but Danae rejected his offer. This made the king very angry, so he ordered his soldiers to arrest her, and then made Danae his slave. The next day, Perseus arrived at the palace looking for his mother. To get rid of him, the king told Perseus to bring him the head of Medusa, the Gorgon, if he wanted his mother back. Little did Perseus know that the king was sending him to his doom, for whoever laid eyes on Medusa turns into stone. Her body was covered in scales and had masses of hissing snakes for hair. Perseus left the island, searching for Medusa. Along the way, he met Athena and Hermes, who gave him a sickle, a reflective shield, and a pair of flying sandals. "Do not look at Medusa's face. Use this shield instead," warned Athena. They told him to meet the water nymphs for more help. Perseus searched for many days and finally met the water nymphs sitting by a river. When they heard the plight of Perseus, they took pity and gave him the magical helmet of invisibility. And so, with the help of gods and nymphs, Perseus was ready to take on Medusa. When he reached near the cave of Medusa, he was surprised. The cave was surrounded by people who were already turned into stone. Holding his sword before him, Perseus slowly entered the cave. Perseus remembered Athena's advice, and he started walking backward, looking at the shield's reflection. Soon he spotted Medusa, sleeping in a corner of the cave. Perseus walked backward, looking not upon Medusa, but only upon her reflection in the shield. When he was near enough, he struck off her head with a curved sickle which Hermes had given him, and still without looking at it, he thrust the head into a bag and hurried away. As soon as he reached back home, he went to the palace to meet the king. Polydectes thought Perseus was lying and asked him to show Medusa's head. Perseus took the head from his bag without even looking at it. He knew that even though the head was dead, it was still capable of turning anyone into stone. The king gasped and gave out a little moan. Then he went quiet, as he had turned to a stone. That was how Perseus saved his mother from Polydectes. They lived together happily for a very long time.
Okay, so as you can see, the stories had a few differences, but the overall idea was the same. So now that we've watched the video and listened to the story, your next assignment for today is to complete the Google form that is here on the assignment. So it looks like this, and it is 10 questions. The first 5 questions are multiple choice, and then the last 5 are short answers. So all the answers that you need will be in the myth, and I also gave you guys a copy of the myth so that you can go back and reread it if you would like to. Okay, so that's right here if you want to go back and reread. I know I usually need to read something a few times before I understand it. So if you need to reread it, it's right here. And then this is something new that I created that I wanted to share with you guys. It is called a choice board. And I know a lot of people finish early on their library assignments and then they don't know what to do. So I wanted to give you some choices of things that you could work on. This is optional. If you'd rather work on homework, that's fine. Or if you'd rather just read a book, that's fine too. But I'll be changing these up over the next few weeks. So there's 6 different things you could choose depending on what you're interested in. You can make your own origami bookmark, and each box will have a link that you can click on that will take you to a website. And then Tumble Books, it's kind of like Epic. It's some digital books if you want to read. There's the username and password here. So if you click on that, it should take you to the home page where you can log in. So up here at the top is where you would type in the username and password. Maker stations, if you're interested in building things, these are some really simple ideas of things you probably have at home. Making a vehicle, making a box that holds pennies, there's lots of things. Story time from space, that's some astronauts from outer space reading books, which is really cool. They have different books that you can listen to. If you just click on the book, it'll take you to the link to watch it. And then this one is really fun. It's digital escape rooms. You guys have maybe heard of an escape room in person, but there's also digital ones. And so there's a Hogwarts one if you're interested in Harry Potter, or a Dogman one if you want to try those. And then the last one, there's no link for this. This is just creating a comic strip. If you want to pick a scene from a book that you're reading and create a comic strip to illustrate it, or you could just create your own comic strip just for fun. So here's some options for things to do if you finish early. Like I said, this is not required. It's just if you want to try something else. Okay? So remember, you are answering the questions in the Google form. Make sure you submit that when you're done. If you need to reread, I have the link for you here. And if you have a question, you can join Zoom. And our password is library11 with a lowercase l. Okay? So I hope that this makes sense to you guys. Feel free to jump on Zoom or send me an email if you have a question, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.